Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? So it's been some days since I've uploaded, and I've said this numerous times in my last couple videos that the offseason has just been super slow. Now, y'all keep in mind that once the season rolls around, I am going to be getting out more content, more game recaps, all that type of stuff, multiple videos a week, instead of like kind of the one video a week that I've been doing as of recent. So y'all just keep that in mind for the rest of the offseason. Unless something drastic changes, another big trade goes down, I will do a video on that. But up until the new season starts, it is going to be a little bit slow. So today I got my Western Conference playoff prediction video. I did my Eastern Conference already. If y'all have not had a chance, go take a look at that video as well. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a like on the video. Help me grow my channel out. I greatly appreciate all the help and support. And let's get right into it. So just a quick little reminder, this is a prediction video based off of how the teams are currently constructed and if teams are healthy for the most part. So with that being said, at the 10 seed, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. And this is a team that was so disappointing last year. I think it's going to be kind of the same way this year. And I know I've said that it is based off of health, but we all know that Anthony Davis is going to miss games. We all know LeBron is going to miss games. Father Time is catching up with them. I can't see them playing a full season or even remotely close to a full season. That roster is just not built to win. Russell Westbrook is just not the player he used to be. And they just have no depth. They lost two of the best offensive players that they had. They lost Melo, they lost Malik Monk, which were two of the better offensive players that they had throughout the course of the entire season. I just don't really see this team being better than a play-in team. Again, unless LeBron and AD somehow go crazy and play 70 to 75 games apiece, I just don't see that happening. So not really much more to elaborate on the Lakers. I think they're coming close to their window being closed. I don't think LeBron wins another title. Y'all can dispute that if you'd like, but I just don't see it. I mean, same with the Lakers. He recently signed a contract extension, which I thought was a bad move for the least amount of money he took. I don't think LeBron should have taken a max contract, even though he obviously deserves it. I just think that you've made you've made your money in your career, right? So why not just take a pay cut, try and build out your roster for the next 2-3 seasons, try and make a run at another championship. He didn't do that. It is what it is. I got the Lakers as a 10 seed for next season. So at the 9 seed, this was kind of a tough one. And this was a team I was kind of going back and forth with. Do I want to put them lower? Do I want to put them in the play-in? And that's the Portland Trailblazers. And a big part of that is Damian Lillard's coming back healthy. And I think he's going to be really kind of out for vengeance. I think he's really going to have a bounce back season. He's going to be an all-NBA player in my eyes. Y'all keep a lookout for a future video I got coming within the next couple days about Dame and Kyrie. A lot of stuff going on Twitter and a lot of stuff on social media about who's a better player and all that. I ain't gonna talk about that right now, but keep a lookout for a future video. So with the Blazers, man, they added Jeremy Grant to their team. They added a couple pieces. Anthony Simons got a big contract extension, well-deserved. Will Nurkic be healthy? I think this team is going to be a lot better than they were last year. I kind of see them as a fringe playoff team with them getting Jeremy Grant to combine with Damian Lillard being healthy. Now they locked up Anthony Simons, and they got some other guys on the roster as well. The Blazers made some moves. I don't see them as a contender, but I think they can maybe squeeze in the playoffs as a low-seeded team, depending on injuries throughout the Western Conference, but I don't really see them being anything better than maybe 8 or 9, so we'll see. But I got the Blazers at number 9 going into next season. Now, at number 8 is a bit of a surprising one, and that is going to be just based off of just the talent in the Western Conference. I think this is a super deep conference, especially this year in particular, once everybody is healthy, and that is the Pelicans. I really, really like what the Pelicans are doing this entire just building series that they've had with getting Brandon Ingram, an all-NBA potential player, a all-star. Getting Zion back healthy is going to be so key. He's looked really good in the videos that I've seen. He looks like he's dropped some weight. With them getting CJ McCollum at the deadline last year, with the way that they played in the second half and even in the first round of the playoffs, taking, I think, the Suns to 6 games. They played really well in that series, and I think they're just going to build upon that. I think this is the year where they take another step, but at the same time, I don't think they can be any higher than 7 or 8. This is a team that it was hard to rank because they're so talented. They are deep. They're a good defensive team, but it's just the West is so deep. And it was kind of the same thing with the Eastern Conference. These teams are so hard to rank, even though they're really good teams. The NBA right now is maybe the most stacked it's ever been in terms of the depth of the East and the West. A lot of times in the past, we've seen the Western Conference being the juggernaut, while the Eastern Conference is just absolute dog shit. I don't think that's the case for next season. I think the East is just as deep as the West and vice versa. It's going to be super exciting, but The Pelicans, it's tough to rank them, but I got them at the A seed for next season. They could potentially be as high as like 5 or 6, but I don't know. It's just, like I said, deep conference. I'm gonna leave them at 8 for now, subject to change potential. So at the 7 seed, this is kind of a controversial one, and this is a team that was just in the Western Conference Finals last year, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. And that's not a knock against what the Mavericks have done, what Luka is going to be or what he's already done, but they don't have a great roster from top to bottom to really compete with the top teams that I have at least above them once they're healthy. Yeah, they added Christian Wood, but they also lost Jalen Brunson, that secondary ball handler for Luka. I think they're really going to miss that. I know they have Spencer Dinwiddie on the roster, but he's not really the ball handler and playmaker that Jalen Brunson is, at least in my eyes. He's a pretty good scorer. I mean, he's a bigger guard. He plays a little bit of defense, but I think they're really going to miss Jalen Brunson's game. Christian Wood was a very nice pickup. I think he's going to be a very nice compliment. They got JaVale McGee for a defensive anchor, but all around, I don't think that they have the power, the star power, the depth to compete with the top teams in the Western Conference, especially with the teams that I have above them with the moves that they made and with getting healthy. I think Dallas was kind of a Cinderella story, very similar to what the Hawks were the year before in the Eastern Conference with getting to the conference finals. They blew out Phoenix in Game 7. I don't think anyone's seen that coming. That was just a complete collapse on Phoenix's part. I don't really see that happening again, but you never know. So I got Dallas as of right now, the 7 seed for next season. At the 6 seed, this was kind of a team that I went back and forth with for the 5 or 6. A team that could be higher, could be lower, and that's the Timberwolves. Now, obviously, we know the big trade that they made, getting Rudy Gobert for giving up their draft picks for the next 200 years. But it's a great move for them overall in terms of trying to compete, but it really jeopardized their future and it really jeopardized their depth. They lost a lot of depth with getting Rudy Gobert. You gave up Jared Vanderbilt, was a very solid play for them last year. They did give up Patrick Beverley. They gave up Malik Beasley. 3 very key rotation players for the Timberwolves last year. We're going to see what they are this year. They have a very weak bench now. They did keep the McDaniels brother, which obviously is a huge move. Will he start at the 3? Cat moves on to the 4, which I think is a better fit for him, but they just lost a lot of depth, but I think they are still going to be a top 5 to 6 seed. I'm really interested to see what level that Anthony Edwards takes his game to next year. I think he has the potential to be a superstar player, an all NBA player within the next 1 or 2 seasons. I can't wait to see what he does next season. I'm very excited to watch the Timberwolves. I'm excited to see if they can get any higher than 5 or 6. But as of right now, I got them as the 6 seed for the playoffs next season. So moving on to the top 5 seeds, and at the 5 seed was a team that I kind of went back and forth with. I didn't know if I wanted to put them in 5 or 6, and that is the Denver Nuggets. And the story of their season last year was pretty much just injuries. They get Jamal Murray back, they get Michael Porter Jr. back this coming season, and I think that's going to be a huge lift for them. Joker was pretty much out there by himself. Won MVP again, went back to back, which well deserved. Got them to I think what was a 6 seed because they played the Warriors in the first round, and we knew that they weren't going to be able to hang with the Warriors, which is they didn't have enough. They ended up trading Monte Morris and Will Barton and got back KCP in the deal, and I think, what was it, Ish Smith. Not a bad trade for them. They got Bones Holland is now their solidified backup point guard with getting rid of Monte Morris. I like the moves that the Denver Nuggets are making. I really think that they can be a strong contender next year, but it's just going to be so tough again for the 1,000th time just because of how top heavy and just how deep the Western Conference is. But I'm not going to sleep on this team because of Joker. He's a 2-time MVP. He's the best center in basketball. If y'all have not had a chance, go check out my center ranking. Joker's just so good. He makes everybody better. The Nuggets can be higher. They can be lower. Another tough team to rank, but I got the Nuggets as the 5 seed for next season. So at the 4 seed, this is maybe a little bit of a controversial one, and it is the former number 1 seed of last year, the Phoenix Suns. Now, this is a team that's still a contender in the Western Conference, right? You know, don't get it twisted by me having them at a 4 seed saying that they are not a contender. They are definitely still a contender, but there's a lot of questions that I have with this team, and it's going to be the chemistry for number 1 going into next season. With the whole controversy surrounding DeAndre Ayton this season, the Suns clearly did not want to pay him. He obviously got the max contract in the end. Now, I've always said that he's not worth a max contract, but he was going to get a max contract just based off of what the NBA market, what it is. Jay Crowder's been in trade rumors. Chris Paul's going to be a year older. Can he stay healthy? Can he really step up in the playoffs? Devin Booker really kind of was a shell of himself in Game 7. Just a historically bad Game 7. They were just blown out from the start of the game, and can they recover from that? A lot of teams we see that have a huge collapse and a blowout game like that in a crucial game, just do not recover. And I think that it's going to be all mental. Are these guys going to be mentally tough to be able to recover from that historically bad Game 7, from all the social media, just everything that has just completely distracted them? I'm not going to call it a distraction, but everybody calling them out essentially. Can they recover from that? It basically is what I'm trying to say, right? I think that they have the potential to, but the teams that I have above them from top to bottom, I think with them being healthy, I think are just a better team than the Phoenix Suns. They have I think they've overachieved the last 2 seasons. That's not to say that they're not a damn good team, because they really are. They have a lot of depth. They have guys that can play multiple positions. Mikal Bridges, I really like his game. He's an all defensive type player. They just don't really have that secondary scorer outside of Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton, can he be that guy? I don't know. I think he has the potential to be that guy, but really with the Suns, he's only like a 16-10 guy. I think he really needs to be a 20-12 type of guy for the Suns to be able to take that next step. They obviously collapsed in the NBA Finals against the Bucks. They were up 2-0 in that series. I don't know, man. I don't know if the Suns can recover from the 2 seasons that they've had the past 2 years. I'm going to leave it at that. I think the Suns are still a contender, but I have them as a 4 seed for next season. So at the 3 seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. And this, again, another team that really has played super well the past couple, well, really just last season. They really were ahead of the schedule last season. Can they stay healthy this season? Jaren Jackson in particular, especially with John Morant. John Morant missed a bulk of games last season. They were very good without him. I've gone back and forth with, the whole Trae Young, John Morant debate, but I'm not going to get into all that. People mistake that for me hating on John Morant. I'm not hating on John Morant. I actually love John Morant. He's actually one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I love watching the Grizzlies. They're so exciting. The Grizzlies are going to be a contender next year. I think they can take that next step. They lost to Anthony Melton. We'll see how that affects them, but they still have so much depth on this roster. They ran into the Warriors. Obviously, we know how that turned out. I didn't think they were going to beat the Warriors. Now, if John Morant stays healthy that series, maybe it turns out differently. I don't know. It is what it is. I got the Grizzlies at the 3 seed for next season. So at the number 2 seed, I think is the deepest team in basketball when they are healthy, and that is the Clippers. I think the Clippers are the most legitimate threat to the Warriors for the in the Western Conference for an NBA championship, and for all the right reasons. When you have Kawhi and Paul George, who are the 2 of the best two-way wings in the NBA, I think that they are the most legitimate threat to the Warriors. Then you add in their depth. They get John Wall. Now, obviously, John Wall is not what he used to be, but even if he could be 80% of himself, give him 60 to 65 games, I think that's a huge pickup. A lot of the guys on that roster had really excellent seasons last year, even though they weren't good as a team, obviously, because their 2 best players were hurt. Markieff Morris really played well in the absence of PG and Kawhi. Terrence Mann, he showed some flashes of being a nice young player. Reggie Jackson had an excellent season. Luke Kennard really showed some flashes, especially in that game against Washington when they came back from 35 down and he just took over. If you know, you know. The Clippers, man, they are so deep. I think they are a legitimate threat to win the championship next year. In my eyes, they're the best team in the Western Conference, but I don't think they're going to be the number 1 seed. And that's for all the right reasons. I got the Clippers as the number 2 seed for next season. So at the number 1 seed, it's pretty damn obvious it's the defending champions. The Warriors, they're still obviously the best team in the West until dethroned. Obviously, I just talked about how I think the Clippers are right there. I think they're the most legitimate threat. But the Warriors are going to be scary good next year just based off of them getting healthy. I mean, when you add Clay, having him obviously just came back off of injury, now is going to be fully healthy going into next season. They're potentially going to get James Wiseman back at some point, hopefully at least. I think he's been playing in pro-ams and everything this summer, so hopefully he comes back healthy. Will other guys like Jonathan Kuminga, guys like Moses Moody fit into the rotation more? They did lose Otto Porter, so I do look for some of them young guys to crack the rotation a little bit more, but as long as they got their core, Curry, Clay, Draymond, they're going to be one of the best teams in the West as long as they stay healthy. They're going to be looking to go on another championship run, and rightfully so. I definitely think they're going to be at the top. They're definitely going to be a contender next year. Why wouldn't they be, right? I mean, it's kind of inevitable, but I think the Warriors and Clippers are the 2 best teams in the West. I think that is going to be the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion. Y'all can disagree if you'd like. A lot of the teams in the West are going to be right there knocking on the door as well. But these two teams are just so stacked in terms of depth when you look at them from top to bottom, if they are both healthy. That's really what this is based off of, if they're healthy. So I'm gonna pretty much leave it there, man. I got those as the top 2 seeds. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments, what you would change, if anything at all. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.